What's up, guys? In this video, I wanted to talk about why I think a lot of beginners, especially recently, are failing with their online business or on their endeavor to learn a new skill set. Okay. If you guys don't know who I am, I've been in this online space for about 4 years. I've been making money for about 3 years. And in the past 3 years, I've made roughly like a little over $1 million in profit. All right. So I've been around for quite a bit of time, made a lot of mistakes. I made a little bit of money. Okay. So this is just like, again, coming from like my personal experience, what I've seen as a coach, and also just from someone who's just been in this game for a very long time, right? So I think that the biggest reason that people are failing, especially nowadays, is expectations, right? Now, to understand what I mean by this, you guys have to understand that the online space 3, 4, 5 years ago in info was way fucking different, right? And what I mean by this for the beginners watching this is like nowadays it's pretty crazy, right? Like you literally cannot escape an ad. Like if you go on YouTube and you type in how to make money online, or you go on Google, or you watch a reel on Instagram or TikTok, you're gonna be spammed in the ecosystem, right? Like you're gonna see ads. I'm like, here's how you can make money with dropshipping. Here's how you can make money with Amazon FBA. Here's how you can make money with so-and-so. You can't really escape it. Back in the day, that was not the case, right? Like if you wanted to, be targeted by ads, you had to go in with like intention, right? You had to like watch a crap ton of videos and then the algorithm would target you, right? Nowadays, it's not the case. There's just so much fucking noise. Now, for me to get to the point, basically what I'm trying to say is nowadays, right, you can come in and you can just like watch 1 or 2 videos, you start getting targeted by ads like crazy, and you might not even be the type of person who is mentally even ready to step out of their comfort zone, right? Or to have the discipline necessary, or even be willing to build the necessary discipline to go on their journey, right? Whereas back then, people that were going with the intention of actually building a business and learning a skill set, they had already done all that mental work, right? So because of that, the expectation difference is insane. Like nowadays, like I've seen it with my own eyes. Like even for my program, right? Like I teach sales, and sometimes I'll get clients that, they see my car, right? I have a G63 and an R8, right? Or they'll see like I have a bunch of Rolexes, and it's like they want to pay me because of that. Which like, I mean, look, it's cool for my business, but like whenever that happens, I'm always just like, fuck, like why, right? Whereas when I get a client that like watches all of my YouTube videos, they follow my journey, and like there's like a level of relatability with like, my past situation and their current situation, right? They tell me this on our call. I always know that, okay, like this person is going to most likely have a much better time, actually doing this than that other client, right? So it's like for a lot of you beginners that are getting into this game, number one is like, don't do it for the wrong fucking reasons. Like don't do it for like vanity reasons, right? And number two is like, if you like got attracted by some of these ads where like you see a bunch of guys your age doing really, really well, you can't just be so attached to that, like that materialistic, item or whatever the heck it is that they're presenting. And instead you should more so fall into like how it is that they got started. What kind of work ethic did they actually need? Like what kind of process did they follow? Because if you're super short-sighted and you only care about like the materialistic things, again, you're coming into this with the wrong expectations. And I always say that like there's 2 types of guys that like buy coaching programs, right? There's like typically 2 types of people, right? Person one is somebody that comes in knowing that like, okay, this is going to be a lot of hard work. Okay, this is not going to be easy. I'm not buying some freaking miracle program, right? What I'm more so doing is I'm paying and I'm investing for a roadmap and guidance on how I can make it in this specific business model, right? How can I learn this specific skill set? Okay, so they have a much more realistic viewpoint of it. Person 2 is somebody that comes in and they're like, okay, you're Jesus. Like, I'm gonna pay you and you're gonna unfuck my life. That's not how this works. No, right? And that's the main problem, right? It's literally a fucking expectation problem. Like a lot of beginners nowadays, they just want everything so quick. And the reason behind that is because also the content that they're watching is more so around like, oh, this is my penthouse tour. This is my, my car collection. This is my watch collection. And they're like, sick, like this guy has such an incredible lifestyle. I want his lifestyle, right? And then just because they want the lifestyle is like why they choose to get into that specific business model or to learn that specific skill set. But they haven't really fucking done any homework on if the business model is going to make sense for them, number one. But number two, most importantly, this is like the biggest one, they haven't even made the commitment to putting in the work. In fact, they don't even know how much work is required because all they've consumed is like top of funnel marketing content. And then when they actually get started, they just think like, oh, okay, this is going to be pretty simple. It's going to be pretty easy. And then they're met with a little bit of resistance and then they just can't fucking cope with it. And then they just give up. Right? Whereas back in the day, and this is also why results were just so much fucking better back in the day when people were joining, because back in the day, people were not joining for, people's car collections and their fucking watch collections. No. Right? They were joining because they genuinely wanted to get into a business model and they were looking to put whatever work was fucking needed. Right? And that's because back then, again, there was not as much of this fucking fast-paced marketing content that's out there now with ads. So the expectation aspect is like the biggest thing. Like if you guys can fix your expectations and understand that this shit actually fucking takes time and it's gonna be hard. Like this is not supposed to be easy. Right? This is also why like I hate fucking 99% of marketers. Right? Because what they try to do is like they really dumb themselves down to be like super like relatable and they make it seem like anyone can do it. Now, I'm not saying anyone can't do it, right? I'm not here to tell you that you can do it or you can't. What I'm simply here to tell you is that this is not going to be easy. And it's very interesting because, and this is an analogy that like I love to make, right? It's like if I told you right now, hey, being a doctor is hard, you're not going to question me on that. You're going to say, Hassan, like no shit. Of course it's hard, right? You have to go to university, then you have to go to pre-med, you got to pass your MCATs. Then you got to do, 4 or 5 years of residency. Of course, it's very difficult. It's not easy. It's very competitive, right? Now, the reason why you will willingly say that is because being a doctor is not glorified by marketing, right? In the sense of like, hey, come in here, you can make so much money, you can make $500,000 a year. No, it's not, right? But building an online business is. Learning a skill set is. All right, so you guys are like falling victim to like a lot of these marketing tactics. Now, at the end of the day, like I'm gonna be very honest, like, I use some of these marketing tactics too, right? I post my nice cars on my Instagram page. I'm not going to lie about that, right? But one thing that I always tell people, even when I'm talking to them on my sales calls, is I'm like, this is not going to be easy. And are you someone who can even put in the work needed to do this? Because a lot of people aren't, and they just lie to themselves. A lot of people are not ready to actually put in the work that's necessary, right? Like if you're someone who, like as an example, like you've wanted to get in good shape, but you can't even bring yourself to go to the gym, you can't even sleep on time, how the hell are you going to build a business? How the hell are you going to, come in and like completely transform your life and learn a new skill set? It's not going to happen, right? You have no fucking discipline, right? So you have to have discipline first if you're going to have any chance in hell of making this work in the first place, right? So expectations is like the biggest thing. And then number two, this continues with expectations, but also guys, it fucking takes time. Like this takes time. It is so crazy. Like there's some clients that I work with, right, who are so talented. They're so smart. Like there's so much fucking potential. And then 1 month in, I just see these guys like giving up completely. And I'm like, what the hell, right? And I've also had clients who are not the brightest, but through sheer hard work, right, and through determination and just saying, look, I don't give a fuck how long this takes. I'm going to figure it out. They figured it out. Like to me, it's just wild that like, people are okay with understanding that, hey, you know what? If I want to become an engineer, I have to go to school for like 4 or 5 years, right? If I want to become a doctor, I have to go to school for like fucking 8 years. But you know what? I want to build a multiple 6-figure business profit. And I'm going to do it in 3 months. Like what the fuck, right? You have to understand reality and you have to stop yourself from being delusional. If that's what's going to cross your mind, right? Like it takes time. My first year in the online space, I didn't make a fucking dollar, right? I didn't make a dollar and I was working so fucking hard, like 10 to 12 hours a day. Nothing was working, right? I then got a job at Pizza Hut because I ran out of money just so I can fund my business, right? So I can pay coaches, so I can learn. The whole year, I didn't make any money. Now, am I coming here and saying that, hey, it's going to take you a year? No. Okay? No. Like my first year, I completely failed. When I got into sales, my first month, I made 10K in commissions, right? That's an entirely different story. But I'm not saying it's going to take you as long as it took me. But here's the crazy thing, right? Could you imagine what would have happened if, 2 to 3 months during my first year, I just said, you know what, this isn't working, like, fuck it, I give up. I mean, I would not be fucking here making this video. I would not have made $1 million. I would not be in this beautiful apartment. I would not, be able to take care of my parents. I mean, I could retire right now if I wanted, guys. None of this would have been possible, right? And it eventually happened because I didn't give up. And funnily enough, like, looking back at it for me, I was just really desperate, right? Like, one of my favorite sayings is that people either do things out of like inspiration or desperation. For me, initially, I started to do things for inspiration, right? I wanted to build a business for inspiration. And then eventually I just got really desperate. I was like, fuck, my life sucks. Like, I don't want to have to go to school. I don't want to be an accountant. Like, I really want to fucking make this work. So for me, it was a commitment that I made to myself that, like, it didn't matter how long it was going to take. I was going to figure it out. Like, I'll be very, very honest. I was this fucking close to quitting though, right? Like, obviously when you keep trying something for a year and it doesn't work, it's upsetting. But regardless, the one thing that I'm the most proud of is, even though when life was kicking me in the face, I didn't stop. I didn't give up. I kept going, right? And there's so many people that I see all the time, right? Clients as well, that I'm like, fuck, like, if this person just kept going, they are going to figure it out. But again, if you have the wrong expectation and you go into the mindset of like, okay, this is going to be easy, whatever, obviously, like, you're not going to want to keep going, right? It's like, imagine someone told you, or for some reason, like, you had the expectation of, okay, if I go to the gym in 3 months, I'm going to have a 6-pack and like 18-inch biceps. If for some reason you held that belief system to be true, and then you went to the gym and in 3 months you did not have a 6-pack or 18-inch biceps, you'd probably quit, right? Because you'd be like, oh, this fucking sucks. Like, what the fuck? It's the same thing over here. Like, you need to align your expectations the right way, because if you don't, then you're just never going to be able to justify putting in the work necessary, right? So expectations, guys, is honestly the biggest reason why I see most people fail. But for anyone that's watching this video who has the right expectations, who has been doing this for maybe a few months or maybe even 6 months or maybe even a year and it hasn't worked out, I am rooting for you. Don't fucking give up. I know it's fucking hard and I know it fucking sucks, but I promise you that if you keep going, you will make progress. I'm not saying that you're going to 100% succeed, because I don't know that, right? And if anyone tells you that, they're full of shit. But what I will tell you is that if you keep going, number one, you will continue to make progress, right? Even if it's small. And number two is, just ask yourself this one question, right? In the one reality where the version of you did succeed and you did end up having the life that you want, what did that version of you have to do? That version of you had to keep going, right? He had to like try and give it a fucking chance. That's the only way it's going to work out, right? If you just give up, then guys, nothing is going to really happen. Another thing as well is, like, if you're thinking this is really fucking hard, like, this just isn't working, I've been trying everything, good. Like, because this is the point where 99% of people give up. And the reason why they give up is because it's supposed to be fucking hard, guys. This life is not meant for everyone. Most people are supposed to be mediocre, right? So if you want to break out of that box, if you want to break out of that label and you want to have a life that you've always wanted and a life that you feel like you deserve, you're going to have to keep putting in the fucking work. I know it sucks, but there's no other option, right? Either you keep going and eventually it works, or you give up now and you can like live the rest of your life with regrets, right? So that's today's message, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one.